Hi, I'm Tina Turbin, children's author, as well as the founder of GlutenFreeHelp.info. And my studio in Los Angeles, as well as the one in Florida, has had the wonderful opportunity to be testing a product from a company called the Buffalo Guys. You're going to be amazed with some of this information. Peter and Ken are the originators of this company, and they still, to this day, have the same company. In 1994, Ken had approximately 3,500 buffalo under his management in a property that he was running. And Peter had a smaller property, mostly with calves, and he was starting to get into the buffalo business, but he knew business. And in about 2000, they merged in their own way to sort of expand and create. What Ken did is he purchased a large property of, I think it was about 600 buffalo cows. And they started kind of developing things and talking about how they could kind of get into the meat business. And this is the story that I'm going to tell you about now. Originally, they started their company with the name Great Plains Bison because that is technically the correct name for a buffalo, for most of the buffaloes that we know here. It's the largest mammal in the North America area. Now, technically a buffalo would be in Africa, the Cape buffalo, and in Southeast Asia, the water buffalo. Now what happened in about 2003, they realized that most people didn't know bison, so they had to change the name back. Now they became the Buffalo Guys. And that name caught on because most of us only know that name and know that name is something that we wanted to eat, and sales took off. So that was a very interesting point. Now we're coming forward to 2002. From 2002 to 2007, sales really took off. 2002, just internet sales were just really skyrocketing for them. And they started developing more and more things. So we have some of the items here that they have, and this is only some of them. We have burgers, buffalo, everything. Andouille sausage, bratwurst, hot dogs, sirloins, you can get everything. Filet mignons. Now I'm going to tell you something. I consider myself very picky when it comes to beef jerky. My father lived in Seattle and he used to hunt, and he used to, at that time used to go up north from Seattle and you could place your order for fresh beef jerky. You would go hunting for a few days. You'd come back and you could actually get your fresh beef jerky based off of who was hunting, what was picked. And it was fresh. It had nothing, no nitrates or anything, and you would get sometimes big slabs like this, you know, very thin, but, you know, a foot by a foot and a half, and you would just eat it and it was just incredible. Well, those days are long gone. I haven't had that in years. I've never had a piece of beef jerky that's good since then, until the buffalo burgers, and it's unanimous. We all thought that it's the best beef jerky we've ever had, and we've been sent some really good companies samples, and this is the best beef jerky we've ever had. They had 2 different flavors, and both are great. Now, the other thing I wanted to tell you is in 2007, Peter sold his ranch, and now what he's doing is he bought a piece of property. He bought the property adjoining to Ken's, and they have now consolidated all their efforts, and they're expanding, and they're in over 1,200 stores. They're all over. QVC is selling them. They've expanded. They're doing incredible, and they deserve it. Buffalo is very unique, and we're going to be talking about some of the nutrient differences between buffalo and some of the other meats that we all consume. So let's take a look at some of the nutritional facts in comparing 100 grams of bison with 100 grams of 90% lean beef, 100 grams of pork, and 100 grams of skinless chicken. Now these facts were kind of interesting to me, a little eye-opening. So you have with bison, you have 2.42 grams of fat with 100, we're talking 100 grams, right? That same size, 90% lean, you get 11.73 grams of fat. Pork, 18.19, and chicken, you have 3.57. Again, bison was the lowest at 2.42. Now let's talk saturated fat. That's the real thick, goopy, stick to your arteries type stuff. We have, again with bison, 0.91 grams. Beef, 4.63. Pork, 5.15. And chicken, 1.01. Again, bison was 0.91. It has the highest iron of all of them, all the protein they're all within about 3 grams of each other, so they're equivalent when it comes to that. I thought that was very interesting because most people would think that bison might have a little bit less than the beef or a little bit less than the pork, but less than the chicken that was kind of an eye-opening point for all of us. Now, as a result of it having the less fat, I noticed when we cooked it, it cooks completely different. You have to cook it different than cooking, a steak. So the instructions are on their website and a lot of recipes are suggested. So that's just one point. You do not cook it like a steak, and it will not turn out good if you do cook it like a steak or if you're trying to treat it like a steak. So let's learn just a little bit about the buffalo. When I say a little bit, I mean just a little bit. There's just a world of knowledge about these creatures, and Ken has really informed me of just where his heart is at with these animals. He treats them with dignity. He wants to see the preservation of this animal in the United States because they were near extinct. And at 1 year old, at just 1 year old, they will weigh 450 pounds. They also start eating foliage the first day they're born, which is very interesting. Most animals do not do that. And the mature 5 to 6 year old cow will weigh in at 1,000 pounds at 5 to 6 years old. And the bulls weigh anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 or more pounds. So you get a lot of meat with these guys, but at the same time, they're very particular. Ken is very particular on treating them, how he treats them. And he has observed their characteristics at different times of the seasons, and he respects those characteristics, and it's very interesting in the manner in which he treats the animals. Part of the reason that his meat tastes completely different is due to the nature and the respect he gives the animals, which makes sense. There's less stress. They're treated well. They're fed very good food. They're not shot with hormones or anything at all. They're on a completely natural diet, and as a result, the product of the meats are completely different. They're delicious. Thank you very much. I hope that this information on the Buffalo Guys has been informative to you, and I hope that you do try buffalo from the Buffalo Guys. There is one key point that Ken has made me aware of that I'd like to make you aware of because I think it's important for everybody out there to know this. I need to read this. The Food and Drug Administration announced in January 2008 that the meat from cloned cattle, swine, and goats can be marketed to consumers. So they have also announced specifically that they will not require that any special labeling of meat products produced from cloned animals at all be on any of the packaging. Therefore, when we go to the stores and we're buying our meats, any pork, or any of the goat products, they can be cloned, and we will not know which ones are and which ones aren't. And if that's any concern to any of you out there, at least you now have this information. Ken wanted me to let you know and let everybody know that the Buffalo Guys products are made with 100% pure bison meat, and that there are absolutely no meat cloned animals of any kind in their products, and they will not be. Theirs are hormone-free, on natural diets, and they hope to hear from you.